Oh, we are recording. So why do you feel compelled to overcome me mentally with your strategy off the bat? What the fuck is that all about?
Don't worry about it. You zig and I zag, all right? I got a couple of hints for you about what we're gonna look at today.
I'm ready. What do you got?
All right, so I gave you the first hint. I'm
What,
here to
gaslighting? Gaslighting is a hint?
overcome you mentally. No, but what male presence wants to overcome people mentally, Benjamin Beardsley? What male media dominant presence wants to do that? He's our little friend from Canada.
Is this Ted Cruz? Are we talking about Ted Cruz?
No, no, not that Canadian. Another Canadian that you and me know very well that has a lot to say about hierarchies.
Is it Jordan Peterson?
This is a special Jordan Peterson clip in this episode.
Oh no. Ah.
Yeah, baby. We better start from the beginning.
So Hitler started, one of the things Hitler started, it's a very strange story in many ways because Hitler was obsessed with order and cleanliness. He was a very orderly person. And he was very sensitive
Can
to
we
this
stop
stuff.
for just a second?
But not
Just for 1 second. We're
Yep.
16 seconds in. I feel like he's coming across as surprisingly pro-Hitler.
Yeah. No, but it gets worse. Can I continue?
Oh, no. I'm uncomfortable already.
This is gonna get good.
were afraid of the Jews, because they were other. And that's not right. What's more accurate is that especially Hitler, he was very sensitive to disgust. That's what it looks like. And if you're disgusted by something, then you want to eradicate it, right? If you're afraid of something, you want to run away from it. If you're disgusted by it, you want to burn it to the damn ground. You want to get rid of it.
Whoa. Dog whistle alert. Dog whistle alert.
Burn it to the ground. Disgusted. Burn it to the ground, Jose. My ears. My fucking ears. 36 seconds.
Writings, like I read a book called Hitler's Table Talk, which was his
Wait.
discussion during dinner time.
Why is he reading a book called Hitler's Table Talk? Jose, when's the last time you read a book called Hitler's Table Talk?
I have never read a book that started with Hitler in a possessive for anything, right?
Also, Table Talk. Was he looking for like conversation starters at a dinner party? What is this?
That is literally what the book is about, apparently.
I'm from 1939 to 1942. It's really another amazing book. And we had been doing some work and inspired a bit.
Get to know Hitler,
And yet another amazing book about our Führer.
By Jonathan Haidt, who's done a lot of work on disgust and the relationship between trait personality. And I was reading this book at the same time, and it was just unbelievable how often Hitler referred to the people he was eradicating, the Slavs and the Gypsies and the Jews and all the people he was.
I used to just not like this man.
He's so racist.
He's horrible. He's horrible. What a fucking horrible human being.
But he keeps going.
As parasites and as rats and as insects and all of that. So they were kind of put into that category. So, and here's a horrifying part of that story. Like when Hitler first...
Here's a horrifying part of that story. It's coming now. Not the fact that he thought of them as rats and gutter trash. That's not the horrifying part of the story. Okay. The horrifying part of the story is coming now.
First came to power, he put in a lot of public health initiatives, including mass tuberculosis screening, which actually turned out to be a good thing. And at the same time, he went on a beautify the factories campaign.
He's about to say the bad thing that Hitler did, but before he says that, he's fucking telling me all the great stuff they did.
Can you go back? He had an interesting speech error, what Freud used to call a slip.
A lot of public health initiatives, including mass tuberculosis screening.
Can we hear more about mass tuberculosis?
Oh, let's hear that one more time.
Hitler first came to power, he put in a lot of public health initiatives, including mass tuberculosis screening.
Oh, man. Oh, I'm starting to understand the king.
At the same time, he went on a beautify the factories campaign.
Right.
And so
That ironwork sign above the gate.
German factory owners and so forth to increase the levels of hygiene in the factories, to get rid of the rats and the mice, to plant flowers out front,
God,
you know,
yeah,
to make everything look
fantastic,
neat and
Jordan. Can
orderly.
you tell us
And
what
the
was
insecticide
the
they
horrible
used was
thing
Zyklon.
about this whole story?
Well, Zyklon, to eradicate the rats and the insects. Zyklon, a slightly different
here it
formulation,
is.
was the gas that was used in the concentration camps. And so
I see.
Hitler went from cleaning
Formula.
up the rats and the mice and the factories and the insects, and then he went into the mental hospitals and started cleaning up in there. And then
Why does he keep calling this cleaning up? Like at this point, it's not cleaning up anymore, right? Like cleaning up was the trash, possibly the rats. But once we got to the mental hospital,
That's no longer cleaning up.
it's no longer cleaning up, Jordan.
Just more like murder.
broader and broader, again, sort of one step at a time.
Right.
You know, and the Germans had plenty of reason to be resentful and hateful because, I mean, think about what they went through. We can't even imagine it.
Let's sympathize with these people and what they went through.
Let's sympathize with the Germans.
Let's sympathize with the German Nazis. Let's
Well, one step at a
First of all, it was World War I, and so
one step at a
there was
time.
many men like Hitler himself who served in the trenches. And there's one story about Hitler. He won a medal for heroism in World War I.
Why?
Heroism. Heroism. It's an important part of the story, Jose. It's
He
often
hasn't said. He hasn't said one bad thing about Hitler.
he cleaned up the asylums with Zyklon.
And then he cleaned up Germany with rat gas. One step at a time. One step at a time. But he hasn't said one bad thing about Hitler. The concentration camps wasn't necessarily linked to Hitler. He just said the gases that were used in the concentration camp. Didn't say Hitler used the gas in the concentration camps. Like, I'm probably being a little bit fussy over his language considering all the other fucking dog whistles that he's had in this conversation since it started, but that seems like he's choosing his words very carefully here, right?
He likes to talk about how important words are, right? Also, we are not yet halfway into this thing, so I think we should give him a chance. I'm sure that conclusion is gonna like make it all good.
Oh yeah, man. It's gonna get better from here, trust me.
He was sitting around with a group of his buddies and went off to do something, God only knows what. And when he came back, they were all dead because a mine had, not a mine, I don't remember, some kind of shell had landed in the middle of them, killed them all. It's like, that changes you.
Actually,
you know, and then afterwards there was
he's on top of these facts, Jose. Heroism. This is a story about heroism.
This is a story about heroism, beautifying the country,
Out
and
of
discuss for who?
We discussed with, vermin.
Everything's great except for this over here.
you just can't imagine what it must have been like in the trenches, you know, especially if you were there for like a couple of years.
Isn't this
You weren't the
a
same
terrible
person.
thing that Hitler
You're
did?
unemployed, your country's in ruins. Then the hyperinflation hits, and every single person in Germany who ever saved any money at all is flat, bloody broke. And then there's a communist revolution brewing in Russia, and it's like, it's hell. And the Nazis came along and said, well, not only are we going to restore order and greatness, but we're going to bloody well tell you whose fault this is.
Yeah.
It's like, and Hitler,
Wait, did he take a position on that stance? Did he take a position?
It sounded like he did, right?
Was he for or against this? I'm a little unclear.
I don't know. What do you think? I think he's kind of for it.
It seems kind of for it a little bit.
This is
He's
really,
not renouncing it as much as most people would.
yeah, and he's certainly giving us a lot of details.
A lot of positive details
A lot of positive
about
details
that
of this.
heroic cleaning and beautification project.
Like, he's talking about the Holocaust. This is,
Kind of. He's talking
Holy
around
shit.
the Holocaust.
well, actually, I'm talking about Adolf Hitler. And in talking about Adolf Hitler, the Holocaust is just a small part of Mr. Hitler's life.
We need to look at it in context, one step at a time.
I've studied him a lot trying to understand what happened.
Yeah.
Hitler was, Carl Jung called him the mouthpiece of the collective unconscious of the German people. So you imagine there's all this resentment and hatred.
That's not a good thing. That's not what he didn't mean that was a good thing. I'm pretty sure.
So you imagine there's all this resentment and hatred brewing underneath the surface, and all this chaos is there, and the desire for order is like clamoring in everyone's minds. And Hitler comes along, and he's a very powerful emotional orator, and he's watching the crowd, and he listens, And when he says thing A, nothing happens. And when he says thing B, everybody roars. And so he takes note of that. And it's not even conscious exactly, right? Because he's being molded by the crowd. And so they roar. And so we think, so that's a reinforcement.
Hitler is being molded by the crowd.
You realize he's talking about his own process, his own evolution. He's projecting the Jordan Peterson story onto this other great historical figure who was just a little overprone to disgust and really wanted to clean things up.
He's really humanizing Hitler in this conversation.
He's humanizing the fuck out of Hitler.
If I was somebody who was conservatively inclined, I would be really like curious about Hitler right now, trying to find out all these great facts about this
Misunderstood hero.
Like did you know he was a World War I hero? And guess what? He was a World War II hero for somebody too.
Oh my God. I think in Jordan land, he's still very much a hero.
And he's got like esoteric books written by Nazis that you wouldn't know were books written by Nazis because they're not in German and they have like really like benign titles, like the Iron Flower, the blood of the people,
Blood of the righteous or something,
the purity of the blood. The shelf gets increasingly more racist as you from left to right. You're like, wait a minute, I sense a pattern here.
Step by step. If you start at the left side of the bookshelf, by the time you get to the right side of the bookshelf, it all makes sense.
Yeah, the dog whistle become a foghorn. Do you really want to finish this? You ready?
Yo, dude, I don't know. I want to hear him renounce Hitler, dude. I haven't heard him renounce Hitler. We're 4 minutes.
Okay, then spoiler, he doesn't.